All right, we'll do something a little bit different today than I normally would do. I'm going to kind of shoot from the hip, and I want to share a couple of little stories with you today about some things that have impacted my life. And hopefully you can take something away from it today and understand something. We live in a generation that, in a world that says, they even write songs. It's all about me. I want to talk about I want to talk about number one. And there's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself, nothing wrong with doing better for yourself, bettering yourself. But understand something outside of our, as my wife calls it, the little shiny boxes. Mine's recording right now, but outside of our little shiny boxes, there's a world. There are people that are hurting. There are people that are thriving. There are people that can add to our lives. There's people that need us to add to their lives. And sometimes we need to just maybe take a moment and pull our head outside of the box and look around us and realize, hey, there's a whole big, old, massive, beautiful world happening all around us. When I was about 20 years old, 19, almost 20 years old, Morgan was just a baby and had started a carpet cleaning company and just trying to get it off the ground and hustling. And one day my wife walked up to me and said, listen, we need $50. We need some formula and diapers and different things. She said, but we need $50. Well, you might as well have said to me, we need $500. This was, I remember, it was on a Saturday night because of the way things unfolded. And I remember thinking, there's no way I can't go out right now and do a job and come up with $50 but we needed stuff now. And so I remember going out that afternoon and sitting in my carpet cleaning van. And I remember this conversation because I simply said, God, I need you. Yes, I do believe in God. I believe there's a God and I believe he is alive and well. And so I remember saying, God, I don't know what to do. I have no way of taking care of this. I need $50. Now, God, $50 to me is a bunch, but $50 to you is absolutely nothing. And could you please help me here? I'm in need. I don't know what to do. And it was a simple little prayer. I remember it was just a simple prayer. It wasn't this big, deep, drawn up prayer. It was just a simple prayer. Well, the next day we go to church, and my dad was a pastor. And of course, back then you had Sunday morning service and Sunday night service. So we went through the Sunday morning service and got ready and went to church that night. And I remember looking across the auditorium there, and there sat a gentleman named Cliff Dunlap. One of the funniest men I'd ever met in my life. He was just hilarious. But he was dying of cancer, and I had watched the progression of cancer. I despise that filthy disease, and I'd watched the progression of cancer as it took his health, but the man remained positive and just faithful. But then there was about a 2-month stretch where I didn't see him, couldn't come to church anymore. The health wouldn't let him do it. But this particular Sunday night, I remember looking over, and there sat Cliff Dunlap, just frail, and you could tell that he was probably suffering. And so, long story short, after church, we were in the basement having a little fellowship, and I remember somebody coming to the side of me, and I remember they grabbed my hand and they slipped something in my hand, and I didn't know what it was, but I remember, and it was Cliff Dunlap, and I remember him whispering these words in my ear. Hey, bud, I just want you to know that I wouldn't have been here tonight. He said, but I feel like God spoke to me today and said to give this to you. He said, son, it's not a lot. He said, but I feel this is exactly what God spoke to me. He said, I just want you to know something. This is what he said to me. I love you, and God loves you. And I remember he stepped away, and I hugged his neck, and I remember looking down at my hand, and guess what it was? Yeah, $50 bill. And I wept, and I hugged his neck, and I told him the story, and I remember the tears streaming down his face because it was a reward to him to know, hey, listen, I am listening. And it was just a few probably weeks after that he passed away. And that man made such an impact in my life. And I'm so grateful for the lesson he taught me. But I want to share another little story with you. All right, so let's fast forward to 2008. I'm a new pastor, just pastoring my first church. I'd been an assistant pastor before, youth pastor, but this is my first pastorate. And so my father-in-law at the time owned a furniture company, and on Wednesdays, he would load up a 27-foot box truck, and I'd drive it to Bryant, Arkansas, dump it off at an auction, and come back. So I was on the way there. I was between Conway and Little Rock on 40 there, and I remember I was just doing what I did. I was just telling God how much I loved him. I was listening to gospel music, bouncing in the truck, and I remember saying this statement because of the reason I remember is because what happened after. And I remember saying, God, I just want you to use me. I want to be a blessing to somebody today. I want to be sensitive to your voice. I remember saying that. And it was probably 3 or 4 minutes down the road. And it wasn't an audible voice outside me. It was inside my mind. It was crystal clear. The voice said to me, call Mark Jackson and tell him I love him. Now, you got to understand something. My mind's not there. My mind's singing a song and doing, and I remember it kind of spooked me. I'm like, what? Oh, my heartburn. Must eat pizza. And I remember trying to rationalize why what I was hearing wasn't God, and it can't be, because I haven't talked to Mark Jackson in 2 years. I don't even know if I got his phone number, so I ignored it. Typical. And so it was probably 10, 15 seconds later, very forceful again. Call Mark Jackson. Tell him I love him. Well, that time I realized, hey, there's something up here. What's it going to hurt? I might as well do it anyway. So I grabbed my phone, and I'm sorry, but yeah, I was going down the road and I'm looking at my phone, and Mark Jackson. So I hit the number and I call, and he answers. He said, Larry Ferris, how you doing, buddy? I said, my goodness, what's it been, a year, 2 years? I said, yes, sir. He said, what are you doing, man? I said, well, listen, I'm driving down the road. He said, I said to him, man, please don't think I'm crazy here. He said, I know. I said, no, we hadn't talked in forever. I said, but I feel like God just spoke to me and said to call you and tell you that he loves you. And I went to say something, and there was silence. And I remember I thought, Lord, what did I just do? Am I looking like an idiot right now? And about that time, I was about to speak. I heard this, like somebody being crying, and then they gasped for breath. And when the man got his composure, he said to me, you're not going to believe. You're not going to believe what just happened. He said, I am going through a mess in my life. He said, my life is upside down, financial, everything. And he said, I had just about 15, 20 seconds before you called me, cried out. I said, God, do you even love me? Do you love me, God? If you do, let somebody tell me that you love me, that I'll know that you're really there. And you picked up the phone and called. Now that doesn't make me super spiritual, but here's what I guess I told both of those stories to say this. Be sensitive to what's going on around you. Be sensitive enough to hear, and be disciplined enough to obey. There are people's lives that you can change with a word. If you feel led to give somebody $10, listen, it may not seem like much to you, but it may be the world to them. I want this channel to be a channel that helps. It's not all about me. I have been the biggest failure and screw up in the world. But I have learned some pretty amazing lessons in my life. And one of them is, there is a God, and that God loves you. And if nothing more today, I just wanted to let you know, hey, I don't know what you're dealing with. I do care, but so does God. And he sent me today to say, hey, he knows where you're at. He knows what you need. And above all else, he is a great, big, wonderful God, a Father that loves you and will be there for you at all times. Guys, go out today, put a smile on somebody's face. Be quick to forgive. Always extend mercy. And above all else, be kind to each other. That is a view from the Ferris side of things. Thank you so much. Go out today. Change somebody's life. Touch their life. Be a blessing. Thanks a lot, guys.